Hello, and we are live, hopefully. So, welcome to the Coffee Chinwag today with myself and the amazing Katie Newman, who is a purpose coach and specialist. I will be talking about all things purpose today, and this is the last one of the 4-week series. Any of you, if you've been here with me from the start, you'll know it's been a journey. The first one didn't work, so we had to hop onto my guest Abby's and we did it from there. Then the second one, we got it to work with Tion, and then after 4 minutes we had an error message, and then we got it to work eventually. And then last week with Stacey, I was getting into the flow. I was starting to use banners and tickers and getting a bit braver. And then today I'm going to be using more banners and tickers. So I think finally I've managed the tech. I'm still no Terry Wogan, but I just hope that this inspires people who think, I can't get to grips with tech. I promise it gets easier. Each time I do it, I feel, but it's easier. It's like riding a bike. You just do it and you get used to it. I'm still no expert, but at least I can say I've done it. I know how to use the tech and I can help people with LinkedIn Live. And I've had 4 amazing people, which has kept me accountable as well. I think if I'm being honest to myself, if I'd done the first one by myself and the tech hadn't worked on the day, I'm not so sure I would have come back the second week. So I'm super grateful for my guests like Katie today, because they have made me step up and do this show and get myself out there on LinkedIn Live. So Katie, how did I meet her? Well, I've met a lot of amazing people during lockdown, and I joined a network called SWIB, which stands for Successful Women in Business. Shout out to Jill, who runs it. And over the course of lockdown, they've been getting in people to do masterclasses. And Katie did one all about purpose a month or 2 ago. And I just thought it was amazing. And I thought Katie was amazing. And I do think finding your purpose is so important, whether you are an employee or a business owner. And I know in the past, I have fallen out of love with certain roles and companies because my purpose was not in alignment with them. And I think as a business owner, you really need to have a strong purpose. So I'm not going to ramble on too long. I'm just going to go over to Katie now and ask Katie if you want to just tell us a little bit about who you are and your company, and how you kind of came into this realm of purpose.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. It's lovely to be on here and get to chat to you. So I am a consultant, professional coach, and NLP practitioner. And my background is in marketing strategy and branding for big corporates and also scaling startups. So how I came to kind of do this, I kind of went on the journey that I'm now helping other people essentially to go on, of kind of doing what was perceived as all the right things, going to university, joining a grad scheme, climbing a corporate career ladder, chasing all those things such as status and money and things that, were important and at the time and that I thought were going to make me really happy. And reaching a point where I was going, actually, this just isn't cutting it for me. I feel like I lost the meaning in what I'm doing. I'm not feeling fulfilled. And I want to spend the time that I've got and the hours that I spend working, feeling like they're making a difference, like they're doing some good and like they've got a bigger contribution.
Yeah.
So when I got made redundant, it was a kick in the teeth at the time, but actually turned out to be a massive blessing, as these things often are, to push you to do things differently. And I decided that was what I needed to start my own business. So I took the experience that I had in business and combined it with my training that I've done in NLP and coaching to be able to help other people now go on that same journey of figuring out, what is your purpose, what really sets your heart on fire, what do you love, what gives you that meaning of fulfillment and freedom, and how can you find that in your work? Because we spend a third of our lives sleeping, a third of our lives at work, and a third of our lives doing everything else.
Yeah.
So
you're frozen. Hopefully she'll come back. This happened when we were doing the test. She freezes for a bit. I'm sure she'll come back. Oh, you're back.
I was saying that, you spend a third of your life at work, a third of your life sleeping, and a third of your life doing everything else. So if you want to, find that fulfillment and meaning, your work
Don't worry, guys. Tech problems. She will kind of dip in and out. Thank you for everyone who's joining. I can see Hetal, Shamima, Mandy, and Hetal again. Don't worry, I'm just subbing while you come in and out.
Sorry, I don't know if I said this you've already heard this bit, but yeah, if you want to make a difference, then your work is your best opportunity to be able to do that. So what I now do is I work with employees who want to find more meaning and fulfillment in their work and help them to go on that journey of working out what exactly it is that matters to them, what they want to be doing with their time, and find a career or a job that does that. I work with small business owners who want to use their business to make a difference, who want to, use the scale and influence that they get and, with the privilege of being a business owner to try and create good in the world. And I also work with leaders of bigger purpose-led companies, helping them to create a leadership style and approach which is authentic to them and leads again from that place of purpose. So they're leading for a future that they want to help create. So that's me.
Brilliant. It's brilliant to hear your history, and I think it's quite surprising that you said you've been made redundant, and Stacey in the last episode has, and I have, and at the time it does feel like the biggest, like you said, kick in the teeth, but it often turns out to be the best thing that's ever happened to you, because it makes you stop, evaluate, find out where, what are you doing with your life, what is your purpose. And I'm in my 40s. I know that Katie's frozen again. You're back. But I'm just going to go off on a tangent of a story here of saying that I'm in my 40s. And when I, was younger, it was all about, like you said, go to school, you go to uni, you get married, you get a job. There was certainly no pushing me to set up in business. And when it came to that job, there was certainly no chat about finding my purpose and my values aligning with that company. It was all about, well, that's a good job. They pay well. That's a good career. So I fell into jobs and, I liked them, but I never felt completely at home. And it's only when you step back, you kind of go, well, that's why I'm not really fulfilled in this, because there's no greater purpose, or I don't feel like I'm making a contribution to the greater kind of scheme of things in this role. What I love about millennials is they are completely on board with this, and they're like that from the start, and they're all about the purpose. And I think anybody older listening, we have a lot to learn from the millennials, because I know so many people get to midlife in their 40s and burn out. Mm-hmm. And when you drill it down, it's usually because they ended up somewhere that was not in alignment with their values or their purpose. And they were doing a career like myself, financial services, or I know of solicitors, law, anything like that. And then there was just no passion or purpose behind it. It was the money, I suppose, was a form of golden handcuffs. You feel like, I remember being in financial services and a lot of my family and friends saying, oh, that's a great job, you'll never leave there. And in my head, I thought, well, it's not really me. But I stayed, I think, for a long time because of other people's kind of perceptions of that's a good role and you should be grateful for it and you're paid well. But I do think there's more to life than that. It's all about, like you said, making a difference. So I am kind of rambling a bit. I'm just going to quickly go through the comments. I don't know if you can see them, Katie, if you click on comments.
Yes, so I can.
From London, we've got somebody from Kildare. So I'm actually from County Dublin, which is on the border of Kildare. So hello, Kildare. Aberdeenshire, we've got a nice mix. So thank you guys for joining in today. It's lovely to see. I see a few friendly faces, which is always great. I'm going to be fancy and stick up another banner today about Katie. So Katie is the purpose specialist. And as I said, I'm no Terry Wogan, so I've actually had to write down my questions to ask her. So the first one I'm going to ask her is, what are purpose-led businesses? Over to you.
So purpose-led businesses are businesses who have a greater reason for existing than just profit. And their pursuit of that reason or that purpose is greater for them than their pursuit of just profit. So these are businesses who are intentional about wanting to create change. They're putting a mark in the ground and taking a stand to say, actually, I want to be here to make things better, to help create positive change, to help do good. And they care about their impact on people and also on the planet. So it's a bit of a fundamental shift from a place where we've been, which is that we've been trying to.
She's gone again. She will come back. So bear with me, guys. It's the joys of internet. Terry was. Sorry, just looking at the comments. Yeah, he was a legend.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's a fundamental shift from, trying to just profit from what you do without a care for how it is impacting other people and the world, to a place where you are trying to solve problems for people and for the planet, but in a profitable way. So there's a really important difference and distinction to make here, that when we're talking about purpose-led businesses, we're not talking about charities. We are talking about businesses that are making a profit, and that, that is a fundamental pillar of how they run, because it sustains them. But that's not the reason that they exist. They don't exist just to make money. They have a greater purpose and reason for being than that, and that is what they drive. That what drives them. Profits just like the oxygen that you need in order to breathe, but it's not the reason that you live.
And I think it's great that you're saying that, because they're not mutually exclusive, being profitable or being purpose-led. You can have both. And I think when, the marketing landscape has changed over the last 20, 30 years, and now more and more companies are becoming more purpose-led, or, they're realizing they have to be purpose-led, in order for people to buy into them, and people want to contribute to something bigger than themselves. So can you list off any companies that you think are amazing and they're purpose-led businesses that you particularly admire, that we could go off and research and have a look at?
Sure. So if you've heard me talk before, I always talk about Patagonia. I think they're amazing. They are a business who has said, our purpose for existing is to save the home planet. And everything that they do is about trying to create a more sustainable and better world. There is also Brewdog, if you've come across them. They are fundamentally throwing up the rule book as to how you do business. They are...
Oh, she's gone again. She's gone again. And I've just put up a new fancy banner saying, if anybody's got any questions for myself or Katie, drop them in the comments. Don't worry.
Brewdog are now carbon negative. They're the first beer company to be not only not making a negative impact on the planet, but positively contributing through their business. The Collective Yogurt, if you've heard of them, Brompton Bicycles, Booths, The Body Shop, Lush Cosmetics, Unilever. Timpson's is one of my absolute favourites. Timpson's, if you look at the way they run their business, they're not in business to just make money. They are in business to employ great people and to give those people great careers. And you see that focus of putting people at the heart of everything they do.
Gone again. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. She will come back. She will be back. I'm afraid to go off on a tangent because I know she's going to come back. It's a good screenshot of her anyway. She's smiling, which looks good.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Don't worry. I was filling in.
Timpson's, they put people at the heart of everything they do, and you see this comes through in how they run their business. So, if you work for Timpson's, then you get your holiday, your birthday off every year. They give everybody, when their kids started the first day of school, a day off. They employ ex-criminals to give them jobs when they're coming out of prison. If you're homeless and you're going for a job interview, they will let you bring in, your suit, and they will dry clean it for you for free to enable you to do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the list goes on. If you get married, they will give you a week off and hire the company limousine. Every employee gets...
That sounds great. So if anyone's listening, Timpson's sound like an amazing company. So I would be checking them out.
Yeah, and they just, you can see...
Oh, it keeps going in and out. But I just think those small differences, like giving you the day off for your birthday, or, the week off for your wedding, they make such a difference to people. And it's things like that. It's not necessarily money that makes the difference and motivates someone, because you feel valued, that they're actually giving you that time, and you feel like one of the family, really, don't you? I think that's really nice, and I think more companies could definitely learn from Timpson's, from what you're saying. Oh, you're going again. So I was going to ask Katie, when she comes back, how do you work out what your purpose is? So I don't know if you heard the end of that, Katie. How do you figure out what your purpose is? Whether you're, because I know we've got a mixture of like employees and business owners on the call. So how do you go about figuring it all out? For me, it took my back breaking and back surgery for me to literally stop and think and go, what am I doing with my life? So I don't want everybody to have to break their back. Is there an easier way? She's gone again. She should come back. And yeah, Shamima, I'm looking at your comments. You feel so valued. Definitely. Yeah, you're back.
Sorry.
How did you find your purpose? How did you figure it out?
So I think you're so right. So many of us reach that point of burnout or stuff going terribly wrong before it stops and forces us to think about that. So actually, throughout lockdown, one of the benefits that might have come from this is it's given people an opportunity to pause and think, and actually to take some time to reflect on what it is that's important to them, because we've not been doing those 2-hour commutes and you've suddenly had a time to think about what's important to you. And that is where this all starts. It's starting with you, because for many of us, when we run our own businesses, you are your business, and therefore you are going to feel the most motivated, the most.
Oh, she's gone again. I wonder, is she going when I try and put up a banner as well? So if this is the reason, I apologize, because I've just stuck up a new banner. So maybe that's impacting it as well.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. I'll leave this for a while.
Yeah, so that's the point to start with, working out what is important to you, because you will be so much more motivated and fulfilled if you're working towards something that means something to you. So getting clear on what you care about, what your values are, what's the difference you want to make, what are the issues that break your heart that you want to help create change for. That is a wonderful place to start. And if you are feeling like there's too many things or you can't narrow it down, another great place to start is looking at the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So these are goals that have been put together globally to kind of say, in the next next couple of decades, these are the 17 areas that if we all focus on, and businesses is included in that, we will make a huge, huge difference. So, there's various things in there, such as about trying to tackle poverty and trying to tackle the income inequality and things like that. And it can sometimes be a bit overwhelming when you look at them and you think, oh, right, so solving poverty, that's huge. But, it's about us all working together to do whatever little bit we can do through our businesses, because if we collectively all do something, then it will make a huge fundamental difference. Start with you, get clear on what matters to you. And then after that, it's about then creating clarity in terms of how does that come through in your business. Because there's a real important thing here between saying that you're purpose-led and telling everybody that you're purpose-led, and then backing that up with what you do and your actions. Because if you're just doing this first one, it's not going to get you anywhere. People will absolutely see through that, and it's not going to be fulfilling or meaningful for you either. If you're declaring that actually you want to be, whatever it might be, carbon negative, then in your actions you would see that being backed up in terms of how you choose to travel, whether you choose to use recyclable paper, where you source your energy from. It's about how do you operationalize what it is that you care about, so that it creates a business which almost lives and breathes those things that are important to you.
You have to walk the walk and talk the talk, and not just say it because it's fashionable to be purpose-led. Because like you say, people will find out, well, they will when they engage with you, whether you really are just, saying it for the sake of it, jumping on what they think is a trend or a fad. And I think in a company, if all your employees are on board with the purpose, it's just like it makes working easier, the working day easier. You're going to enjoy your job more, you're going to enjoy your business more, because it's giving back in some way. And Stacey mentioned this as well last week. She actually mentioned that the UN, the goals as well. And she mentioned every time she gets a certain amount of work in her business, she gives back to underprivileged women. And I definitely need to incorporate something like this into my business. I'd love to say I'm there yet. I know I need to do it, and I sponsor charities. I do a lot of voluntary work, but I haven't kind of figured out what is the thing for me, so that when people work with me, they know I'm giving back. So like, I'm a big passionate advocate of mental health. My mother's got bipolar, and my husband is a social worker who specializes in mental health, so that's a big part of who I am. And I know a lot of people get stressed out about LinkedIn. So perhaps I need to think about, every time somebody books with me, I donate some of my proceeds to Mind or something like that, because I do think then I will actually probably feel more empowered within my business, because it's not just about me going, book with me, I can help you. It's about actually thinking, well, actually, I'm going to help them as well. So I think it's great that you're saying everybody can get involved. You don't have to be a big company. You can be a sole trader like me, an individual, and figure out what feels important to you and make difference that way.
And you touched on such an important point there, that this is a journey. This isn't about waking up one day, deciding you're going to be purpose-led and everything is going to suddenly be perfect. Yeah. This is about intent, and, saying that you want to try and make a difference. And
she's gone again. She will be back. Yeah, if anybody's listening today and they're struggling with their purpose, don't worry, we've all been there. Sorry, Katie, you're back now. But I'm just going to say we've all been there. Like I'm an accidental business owner. I didn't wake up on, I wasn't like, I want to have a business, blah, blah, blah. It happened as a consequence of my back surgery. And I thought, you know what, I actually quite like social media. I like helping people. I like connecting people, especially LinkedIn. I know a lot of people overthink it. They're intimidated. They lack confidence. They feel like an imposter. And I just wanted to help them not feel that, and say, look, anyone can toot their horn. You don't have to be the loudest in the room. Introverts can step up online as well. So I suppose my purpose is helping people to get their voice out there on LinkedIn and to tell them, you're good enough. Everybody's good enough on LinkedIn. You don't have to be a certain person to be out there using it. So I've gone off on a slight tangent there.
That's a perfect example of, why what a really wonderful purpose is, because it's core to who you are. Yeah. And you're talking about, why are these things important to you? Because this is about empowering people. This is about giving people confidence. And, the benefits that come from that empowerment and confidence is that people are able to fulfill their potential. They're able to get the jobs that they want. They can promote the things that matter to them. If you, were doing this with LinkedIn, but then you decided to, I don't know, donate a certain percentage of your profits to the local homeless charity. Now, as wonderful as that is, and that's not to discourage people from doing that, that's where it starts to kind of go from being about your purpose into being CSR, because you're using those profits that you've created and what you've got left over to then go and help some, to contribute to a great cause, which is a wonderful thing to do. But I guess purpose we're talking about is about trying to cement it more at the core of your business. So you're using what are the fundamental aspects and skills that you've got to.
Definitely. I completely agree with what she's saying, even though she's froze. And I do think it's something that if you're lucky, you'll find that purpose straight away. And I'm in business 3.5 years, and I'm getting to the point of finding my purpose. So if anyone's listening today, don't worry, I don't have it all figured out. And Katie didn't have it all figured out, which is why it's led to her having her business. We're all kind of figuring out, we're all works in progress in life. And I think when you do find out what your purpose is, it's just going to give you that much more motivation. You're going to feel empowered, and you're going to be feeling like you're doing good in the world, and you're not just doing a job for a salary. You're feeling like you're making that impact and difference. And that's when you really love your job or your business, isn't it? It's because it's bigger than you. It's not just about you selling a service or a product.
And you're going to be more successful because of it as well. If you look at all the statistics which are out there at the minute, purpose-led businesses are fundamentally more successful than non-purpose-led ones. Yeah. They grow at 2.5 times the rate. They attract greater customer loyalty. They charge. They're able to charge more for their services. They get like 5 times the amount of applicants that regular companies get. Like it's if you're pursuing purpose purely to get profit, you fundamentally miss the point. But if you pursue purpose genuinely, then you will see amazing results commercially come off the back of this as well, because this is what your consumers want. This is, you know, you touched on the millennial generation earlier. They're now 50% of the workforce.
Yeah.
And if you think about, you know, what's their purchasing power, these are the guys who are saying to businesses, we care about what you do and your ethics. 60% of people will look at a company's ethics and how they operate before they go and make that purchase. So it's not just an ethical thing to do, it's a very commercially smart thing to do as well.
It's so interesting that you made me feel a bit old when you said like 50% of the workforce is millennials. It's like, oh my God, how did that happen? I was the early adopters of like social media and email, you know, 20 odd years ago, and now it's like it's completely changed. But I think it's a positive, because you know, we're living in an age of like climate change, and we do need to make collective stands to improve things that are going on in the world. And if we don't, just more shit's going to happen, and we can all make a difference, whether it's, you know, as an employee or a business owner. I know I keep saying employee, it's just because I can see like half of the people on the feed are employees. And I do think, I know one of them, Mandy, give her a shout out, she's looking for a new job. So go for a purpose-led company, Mandy. You'll be happier.
Yes, absolutely. If you need any help figuring out what's important to you, please. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to attempt to switch up another banner, and I'm hoping I don't lose you, because every time I do this, something.
I think we're just internet dodgy.
Hopefully. Oh no, you're still okay. Great. And a business purpose program as well that people can explore. Like if you're not already connected to her or you want to follow her, don't be shy. You know, reach out to her today after this session, and we'll both be in the comments after. So I'm sorry we're not kind of going in and saying hi. I promise I will come back to each and every one of you in the comments. We really appreciate you turning up today. Yeah. And we have about another 5 minutes left, and we've covered a lot of what we said we were going to cover. Yeah, I think, yeah, we've really kind of covered all of the questions we said we were going to cover. If anyone has any questions, if you want to stick it into the chat now, don't be shy. Like if you're struggling and if you've got a question you want to ask Katie, let me know. And I think I'll just go on a slight tangent about LinkedIn. I think a lot of people struggle with their LinkedIn profiles because they don't actually know who they are and what their purpose is or what they're trying to achieve. And you really need to figure this shit out, guys, because you're never really going to get the results you want if you're not putting the correct version of you out there. So it's really worthwhile exploring who you are as a person and your purpose, because it will help you to attract the right people, the right target audience, and you know, it will enrich your life once you figure out your values. Like I said, it took me breaking my back and literally lying on the ground for 30 days after my surgery to kind of go, do you know what, I'm not really that fulfilled in my role. It pays well and I'm good at it, but actually, and then I kind of was like, bingo, it's not meeting my values. And we're not really taught any of this kind of thing in corporate or in companies, because obviously your company wants you to be all about them, and they don't want to kind of highlight.
We should be taught this stuff at school.
Exactly, and we should really be, because I think, you know, like it impacts a lot of people, and a lot of people will get burnout or stress and think, why am I not? There's something missing. And when you literally drill it down, it is that purpose. So the reason I left my last role was my values were not in alignment and I didn't feel part of that greater purpose. I had started there on a maternity cover and I'd ended up there 11 years, and it was like, what the hell are you doing here? And I'm not saying it's a bad company, it's not. It just was not in line with my purpose or vision for my life. And I had kind of got stuck with the bonus culture and the golden kind of handcuffs and everyone saying it's a great job. And I was thinking, well, I don't really feel that fulfilled in this job. It's not, you know, me. So I do think it's an important thing to explore, because especially now with COVID, we've all had a chance to stop and think this year and say to ourselves, well, actually, do I have to, you know, is it all about the money? It's not really, you know, I think it's, you know, far better to be on a slightly reduced salary, but in love with your job, than on to be on a higher salary and stressed out of your mind and not feel any kind of purpose. And the same with your business. You need to love your business to get your business working for you. And when I first launched, I wasn't doing just LinkedIn. I was doing what I thought I should be doing, because I kind of launched as a virtual assistant, and then I became a social media manager because everyone told me I was good at it and I should schedule. And then, I kind of had to step back and go, do you know what? This doesn't give me any joy. I actually want to teach people to do it for themselves so that they can learn and they can save money, and they don't have to pay someone like me, because they're the ones who know their company the best and the purpose and can sell it the best. And the same if you're an individual. So that I kind of morphed over time and found my purpose. And deep down, I knew LinkedIn was it, but I had a bit of imposter syndrome at the start. And I thought, who am I to say I'm a LinkedIn expert? I've been in corporate for years and blah, blah, blah. Who am I to say I can help people? But then I kind of got over myself and said, you know what? I am a LinkedIn expert. Because if you're an expert, you just have to know something more than the other person. You don't have to know everything. And,
if I could add just, what you've said there, like, this isn't always easy. Don't think that it is a really simple choice that, you're going to wake up one day and be like, actually, I'm going to throw everything in that I've got and go and pursue purpose. Like, it's a choice. It is quite a challenging choice sometimes, because it's always about making, compromises and deciding what's the most important thing to you. But one, it is absolutely worth it, and you do always have that choice, no matter how hard it is. And the second is that to do this, the biggest thing I'd say you need to draw on is just being courageous. Just draw on all your courage, because it will absolutely be worth it. And
she's going. I totally agree. You have to be courageous in life. And when you are courageous, like me, even doing these LinkedIn lives, it gives you confidence. So confidence is a learned thing, like networking is a learned skill. But you have to have the courage first and the balls to put yourself out there and say, I'm going to give this a go. So I completely agree with that about the courage, because a lot of people think they need to be confident first, but it's actually only by being courageous and daring and being willing to make an absolute idiot of yourself. And, on a platform like this, which is my platform. So I had like palpitations before doing this series. I previously was on Facebook and Instagram, and I didn't care about doing lives there because they weren't my people or my kind of tribe. So you do need to be courageous to be willing to put yourself out there. That's when you break through the comfort zone, and anything good, I know it's a cliche, but everything, good is at the end of your comfort zone and by pushing through it. Otherwise, you just remain stuck. And a lot of people think it's a comfort zone, but it's actually not. It's a discomfort zone. You're just stuck. You're never going to kind of get anywhere. So yeah, I love that you've said that. And I'm very conscious we've gone slightly over. So I'm going to let you kind of wrap up. If there's anything, how can people contact you, Katie, if they need help with defining their purpose?
So two things. One, please feel free to reach out to me, either via my website, LinkedIn, Instagram, email, whatever's best, katienewman.co.uk. I'll post the link afterwards. Whether you want some support in helping figure out your purpose and how to bring it through in your work, in your business, in your leadership, or if you just love purpose-led businesses and want to talk about them, I could very happily talk about this kind of stuff all day. So please feel free to reach out. And the second thing is that on the, let me get the date right on this, 20th of November, I'm doing a free talk with a great guy called Phil Lettipud, who is a purpose specialist in PR. We're doing a joint talk for the FSB about purpose-led businesses, and that's an hour and a half, including some workshop stuff. So I will post the link to that too. And if you are interested in this area and want to find out more, come join that talk, because that will help you get a bit more in depth into this subject.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you for being an amazing guest. And there's been lots of lovely comments. Thanks, Mike. You said we don't need change, we need progress. I promise we will both have a look at your comments later on. We've just got caught up chatting. We've seen them on the side and we know you're there, and we really appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, this is the last one of this series for me. I promise I'm not going away to hide. I will be back. I'm going to psych myself up to do one by myself. And what I've learned doing these series is I'm pretty bad with the camera action. So I tend to look at my guests, whereas I promise I will look into the camera like I'm doing now when I'm doing a one-to-one. I will get it better, because I've had feedback from my audience saying to me, you need this, you need that, which I really appreciate. But I just wanted to get a handle of the tech first, you know, baby steps, guys, baby steps. So thank you for tuning in. I know a few of you have come to all four, so I really appreciate it. And don't be shy, reach out to myself and Katie, and good luck in finding your purpose. And you know, if you've got a purpose-led business, feel free to put it in the comments as well. We'll have a look at them later, you know, so don't be shy to kind of shout out about your business as well in the thread, and we'll have a look. Okay, yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kate.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So I'm going to click off now, but thanks a million, guys. Thanks, Katie. Bye.
Bye.